Let's bring in Gil Luria, D.A. Davidson Managing Director, to talk more about this. Hey, Gil, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Let's start with the Vision Pro, and then we can sort of broaden it out to the earnings. $3,500, cool product by most of the reviewers. That's what they're saying. What does the Vision Pro do for Apple?
Well, the first thing it does is it changes perceptions about Apple's ability to innovate. We haven't had a new product category in a while, and this is a very big new innovation. It will change how we do computing. Spatial computing is very different than how we do it now, how we interact with applications, how we view what we're seeing, where the battery is, where the display is. So it's Apple taking us way out into the future, for now at a price point that most folks can't afford, but will give at least some people a perspective on where things are headed, especially so developers can develop the new applications and tools that are more appropriate for spatial computing.
Gil, maybe I'm just reading into this personally, but I see the pictures with Tim Cook and the new headset on. He doesn't look the happiest. And, I go back. Johnny Ive was really never into AR and VR. I'm not sure he would have endorsed this. In fact, he left Apple before this was really developed. I'm just wondering if there's something there, if you think people inside Apple are really gung-ho about this.
Well, again, the point is, this isn't what we're going to have on our head in 5 years. Nobody is going to have this heavy, clunky device that has an external battery and weighs a pound and has multiple straps that needs to be adjusted. That's not what it's going to look like in 5 years. In 5 years, it's just going to be glasses. We're just going to have glasses that we can see our surroundings. We can see multiple screens and multiple applications at once. And that's how we're going to use this device. It's not going to look like the big ski goggles that they are today.
Gil, can we assume, even as this spatial computing innovation is happening, that like the iPhone is kind of innovated out, right? It's got like are we going to see any more leaps of innovation in smartphones, or with the existing technologies are pretty much as far as it's going to go?
Well, I think there's a few more opportunities for innovation. So phones can still get lighter, thinner, maybe transparent. Some other handset makers make them foldable. But what I would really look out for is Apple is going to introduce new generative AI capabilities, most likely in the June WWDC event. And they might tie it to the next iPhone cycle. So they make the iPhone 16 be the only handset that can run these types of applications. And if that's the case, we'll have a major upgrade cycle. The last time we had a major upgrade cycle was the iPhone 12. That was the first phone that was capable of getting on a 5G network. If they make a phone that's the first and only phone that can operate something that consumers want, such as generative AI capabilities, that may drive another upgrade cycle.
Got to ask you about China, because that has been a sore spot, not only for Apple, but for the entire exporting world for that matter. What do you think the future is for Apple specifically in China?
We have very little visibility. The outlook is murky because there's so many factors that contribute to performance in China. First and foremost, the Chinese consumer. The economy there is weak, the market's weak, the real estate market's weak, the sources of wealth are dissipating for that high-end Chinese consumer. Then you have, it's the most competitive handset market with a local incumbent that is very price competitive, but also has some rich features that they're introducing. And then finally, you have the government deciding how protectionist they want to be. There's reports out of China that they're not allowing government-backed agencies for people that work in those types of agencies to have iPhones, possibly as a retaliation around our measures in limiting AI chips, possibly as part of a bigger political statement. Either way, those are things that are going to be very hard for Apple to predict. It's going to continue to be in that market. In fact, they had the highest share in China last year still with all of this, but it's going to be very hard to predict what's going to happen to that going forward.
Gil, you mentioned AI in passing, right? And Tim Cook sort of teased that something is coming from the company on the AI front. I mean, Apple does tend to leak a little bit. Maybe we'll get a little more insight into what it might be. But I mean, do you have any theories? And I guess three-part question. Do you have any theories? When do you think we'll learn more? And what is that going to do for Apple?
Well, so it's usually not Apple that's leaking. They have such a broad supply chain that somebody somewhere and a vendor of Apple's is usually the person who's leaking it. Apple actually tries really hard not to front run its product because there's so much speculation. And that's what they're doing here. All we know for now is that there are uses of AI already. When we use our text and they auto-complete a text, that's a use of AI. You could expect that to expand from there. But based on the resources they have and the attention they're focused on and how important it is for their future, I would expect some things that we're not thinking about yet to come out later this year to make the experience better, to help us summarize experiences, pre-populate messages, and possibly help more with translation, either to language or to programming or to application maneuvering. There's a lot of things they can do. And again, they have so many resources, so many smart people working in Cupertino that I would expect them to do something that will impress us.
Gil, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.